All right, well, once again, the still learning side of me has somewhat painted myself into a corner. I have not routed this yet. And I have not routed this yet. I have radiused this already. So if I were to glue this onto here and then try to radius them both, that would work, except for the fact that I have an angled headstock, so this side's not going to sit flat, and I have a radiused fretboard, so this side's not going to sit flat. I thought about maybe taking a piece of wood, like a 2x4, and, you know, masking tape super gluing it onto that, you know, trim the 2x4 down so it's closer to the neck, and then run a router on, or like, sorry, more like this, and then put a template between that and there, so like this, and then have the blade down low enough to cut that, but that seems a little bit iffy.
And your headstock is still...
And if I go like this and try to put the template on top, once again, the template is going to rock because of that. So, well, I don't really like the idea. I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put the template on here, run the neck on the router face down, put the template on here, run that face up, and then match that up to that. The only thing that scares me about that is if I don't get it perfectly spot on exact, it's going to be crooked. But since I have, as I said, somewhat painted myself in a corner at this point, I don't have a great deal of choice in the matter on how I'm going to do this. The other thing I need to consider is this template is just about a 1/4 inch too wide for that neck pocket. So that also means I'm either going to have to thin this down a little bit at the bottom to fit that, or I'm going to have to widen this pocket a bit. And I got a feeling widening the pocket might be the smarter move here, because I mean that's, I don't have a lot of material there, but that usually cuts off right about here anyway on a Les Paul. So that's not critical material from here forward, really. The only challenge is going to be maintaining the center line if I'm going to try and widen that a little bit. And I could try and narrow the neck a little bit, but then of course that leaves the situation where the fretboard sits over top of the body. Okay. if I get the nut line lined up or need it. Oh, that's easy enough. It's right in the butt crack. Gibson, it's not a butt crack, but it's kind of a butt crack. Anyway, all right.
So how are you going to do it?
I'm going to have to route the neck first, face down, and then the fretboard second, face up, and then fit them together.
I have a silly kind of a question that I don't understand.
Okay.
How are you going to be able to see the lines on the top side on the bottom?
The lines on the top? What are you talking about?
You're going to flip that over and then router it.
Yeah, it's going to ride on the template. I'm going to use a bearing bit that rides on the template, so I won't need to see it.
So you won't need to see where the lines are?
What lines? The only thing I need any of those lines for is just to make sure I have this properly lined up when I glue it down. So as I'm fitting it to the super glued neck, I'm going to need to lean over and make sure that it's lined up with the center line. But I won't need to see any lines while I'm routering. It'll already be there. If it ain't already there by that point, nothing I'm going to do about seeing it is going to fix the problem. I'm talented, but I ain't freehanding with a frickin' router table.
The other question is, why are you cutting that off?
So I can line up those lines when I glue it down.
I always thought you left the tails on so you could get it back off.
No, I don't. Leaving the tails on has nothing to do with getting it back off. Leaving the tails on is only there to make sure you can visually see that you lined it up as you're putting it down on there. But I can't see that one anyway, and this one I can see enough to line it up there. But I'm really not concerned with lining the tape up half as much as I am concerned about lining the center line up this time.
Okay.
I hope I have enough contact area here with my truss rod cavity and my carbon fiber stiffening rods. And
Why did you take the truss rod out?
because it doesn't need to be in there right now, and it can fall out if I tip the neck over. was stupid.
What?
I put the super glue right where I said I might not have the best contact. Okay.
Could just hang the headstock off the side.
I gotta get all the way up to here with the bit.
No, I mean right now while you're holding it down.
Oh, it's fine. If it was a big deal, I'd go like that. I saw one of my builder friends, Rob Toodle, or I don't know how he says it, but he built himself a pretty nice looking router sled recently. Built it. It's pretty cool looking. Rock!
I got my hearing protection.
Awesome. I'm getting mine.
Yay.
Alright, well. Just one more thing I want to mark quick is where the nut line is on the sides here, so I don't go crazy chasing up that template all the way up to here. Although I guess it doesn't matter because I'm using that same sweep. Yeah, it'll be alright. Okay. No funky overhang. Looks good. Behind you, I have those rubber grippy thingies. That's the technical term. Thank you.
Welcome.
Oh, okay. Say your prayers.
Is the vacuum on now?
Yes, please.
Go off the end.
I had a little chip come out. That piece chipped off right as I got to the end of this.
Oh no.
I'm sure I'm not finding it back either, but
Well, put your own spin on it. They wanted to go 40 miles an hour down our street.
well, we could always use my table saw and see if we can take out the moped riders as they go by.
Well,
Just slide little chunks of 2x4 in it as they go by. Boom. Like a mortar launcher.
yeah,
Any of you have seen a table saw throw a board before, you know what I'm talking about.
that's probably not a good idea. Just saying. Are you done with the router?
I don't know yet. Moment of truth here, I guess.
Well, hold on before you decide the truth. I need to get a better view.
Well, it ain't perfectly smooth, of course, because the router blade ain't perfectly smooth cut, but that's it's about as damn close to perfect as I'm gonna get it for how it fits the neck. Lines up on the nut right, lines up at the base right. Next, I think maybe I want to try and carve the headstock or rough it in at least before I glue the fretboard on. And I was going to change the blade on my table or bandsaw. I got a smaller blade for my bandsaw, but I'm thinking if I just take this and chopsticks. I'm thinking if I just take this in careful, you know, not aggressive swoops, kind of do the, you know, thing, I can probably get it close enough that using wood rasp or something like that is gonna get me close. Not that I don't want to change the blade on my bandsaw, but I don't want to change the blade on my bandsaw. Because honestly, it's not a tiny job, and this is really the only scroll cut I have left to make on this guitar. To change that blade out, just have to change it back for the next project, which is coming up here real shortly. I don't know, I think that's going to be kind of a pain in the butt and a waste of time, so. Well, that did nothing.
You had the wrong hose hooked up on.
Yeah, it's still vacuuming over here. Alright, I'm done. Anyway. Okay. So now I think it's time. All the attempting to evade otherwise. It is time to glue that fretboard on. Oh, let's put that in the right direction. There we go. And I did get a hold of Ben
Yeah. What did Ben
and
say?
Sam. And Sam's the one that replied. Sam told me that this should be absolutely no problem whatsoever. He said it's going to be under the nut, it's going to be under the fretboard. By the time you get everything in place, it'll never make a difference. So that makes me feel better.
Good. Why are you doing
So I don't get a whole buttload of glue in the truss rod cab. Oh, and I broke through the truss rod cab.
Somebody's not happy with me.
Sounds like it. I don't blame them. I'm not happy either.
Why?
Because the fretboard.
But you figured out a way to fix it.
I haven't figured shit out yet. All I figured out was to leave it alone for a little bit while I think about it.
Just shape the other side to match this side. I really like how you designed your headstock. It's really neat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, everything I have seen has had guys that they drill 2 pins in fretboard slots, preferably ones that do not line up with the truss rod or the carbon fiber stiffening rods.
Want me to go get a toothpick?
Yeah, would you please? And that's why you want to drill it. Because even though you're putting clamps on it, every once in a while you try to clamp it down and it scoots just ever so slightly as you clamp it down, especially when you get something snotty in there like glue.
And ever so slightly, that's going to mess up the whole ordeal.
Where are the Q-tips? Or the toothpicks? That's about right size. Okay. Give me that 2x4. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, that didn't help. Hand me that template too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There we go. A little more flattish. I just want to put a little depth gauge on there too, just to make sure I don't go too deep. Ebony is kind of chippy. I can hear it as I'm driving the drill bit in too. It's like chip, 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 chip. Ah, don't crack out, don't chip out. Time is it? Get this done, and I think we're going to call it a night. It's supper yet. It's getting on to about that time.
What are you looking for?
Where did I put my new magic glue tools? There they are. I think I went too conservative.
What do you mean? Did I add more glue?
Didn't use enough.
Well, pour some more on there.
I will. Just want to make sure I'm right before I don't really need glue on that tape. I put that tape there so I wouldn't get glue there. So I can move that out of the center and off to the sides of it.
I thought I'd seen some people leave the tape on there.
Yep. Some people do. But I will feel a little bit better. Just a little more glue to wood surface area here. I don't want it in the truss rod channel necessarily, but I do want it on the wood. Now, of course, some of it's going to squish into the truss rod cavity regardless.
Right.
Could you do me a favor? Could you go get me like a cup or a Tupperware or something with some water in it? Thank you. Alrighty. Oh. Well then, I think that will about cover it for that. I'll let that sit and dry. And next, I think I'm going to have a bit of a play date with my wife staining wood. We have she has something she wants to stain, and I want to practice a little bit with a couple of stains and with a little oil on that top wood, not on the top, but on the wood that the top is made out of, and see if I want to do much of anything to that top at all, if I want to stain it, if I want to just oil it, if I want to, what I want to do to it. So, I'm going to probably spend a little time off camera doing that, letting this set up, and then we'll probably come back to this in a day or two and unclamp and move on. I do have the fretboard inlays coming. I ordered the material. Of course, that's gonna also take a few days to get here, but the next thing I'm probably going to tackle is finishing up that headstock shape, and I'm gonna have to thickness the headstock, you know, so saw that down a little bit because I don't have any tuning pegs that are gonna make it through that headstock. So I'm gonna thickness that down, and then carving and sanding and carving and sanding and carving and sanding 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 and sanding. I also need to fit the heel of the neck to the pocket. It's dangerously close, but it isn't close enough. So I think I'm gonna have to do just a little bit of finagling to get it in there. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of my madness. Click like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.